welcome back. I think this is week number 3 of the personal collection series. And today I'm bringing on one of my good friends, James Elite Hunters. We've known each other since we started our own YouTube channels. We actually met at the Dallas card show. What was it? Almost a year ago, right?
Yeah, pretty much back in November, I think it was.
Yeah, the first one. We were both at a vintage table looking at cards. We were recording and I was like, all right, you're a YouTuber. And we both had like 100 subs or something, or even less than
I
that.
think it was, no, actually, I think it's 200, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, man, it was such a long time ago. We were really small, no idea what we were doing on YouTube. And we just hanged out for a bit and talked vintage cards and learned a lot from James. I wasn't actually collecting boxing cards back then. I had one in my collection, a Jack Johnson. But I learned a lot from him and started building out a boxing PC. So I know we're going to talk about boxing in another video, maybe a few months down the road, because today we're actually going to be talking about a Triple Crown cards in the collection that you've built out. I remember the first time we talked, you said that that was your main PC that you were going after. And I was pretty amazed with what you built out so far. And before this video starts, this interview is sponsored by MySlabs.com.
How does 1% sound? Too good to be true? Well, not anymore. MySlabs.com is the web's premier user-driven marketplace for buying and selling slabbed cards, sealed wax, and now slabbed comics and digital collectibles. So the next time you're forced to pay 10% or more to sell something from your collection, head over to MySlabs.com and join the 1% revolution.
Yeah, it's been pretty much a year since I got into the Triple Crown winners. And I had just finished a collection of dynamic duos. And I posted up a bunch of videos at that time. And then what I like to do is I like to collect in themes. So that was my next target theme to collect in. And a lot of those players resonated with my thoughts of some of the most iconic and immortal of baseball. So I had a few. And some of the ones that I didn't have, I dreamt of owning. So I figured, why not make that a collection?
Nice. Now, for people who aren't familiar with the Triple Crown or baseball cards, can you kind of explain the different categories between both a pitcher and a hitter, what stats they need to get to accomplish a Triple Crown?
So the most common ones that people like to think about when they think of Triple Crown is the hitters with offensive stats. And the offensive stats that you take into account for Triple Crown winners is average, home runs, and RBIs. And then when it comes to pitchers, which is also what I like to collect, is ERA, wins, and strikeouts.
Nice. Now, not to put you on the spotlight at all, but who are some of your best Triple Crown players? Like who's won the most Triple Crowns as a pitcher? Who's won the most as a hitter?
Well, there's some that have won either more wins than others. And then basically in the dead ball eras, you're going to find people who won a little bit more, like Cy Young, obviously, or Walter Johnson, Grover Cleveland Alexander. So it's not necessarily more about wins or average or anything like that. One of the most impressive is, let me look him up. I have him here. This guy right here, Rogers Hornsby. His Triple Crown year, he actually had 40 home runs with a 400 average, which is, for me, something that no one's ever gonna do again. And when you take into account launch angle is a big thing nowadays with baseball, pretty much hitters are punting average. And in these days, people were choking up, hitting for a great average. They didn't want to strike out a lot. And for this guy to actually hit above 400 and still hit for power with 40 home runs, him and Babe Ruth at the time were dominating baseball. He was in the National League, dominating the National League, and Babe Ruth in the American League.
Yeah, Hornsby, I feel like a lot of people outside the vintage realm don't even really know who he is. Everyone always assumes that Albert Pujols is the best Cardinal of all time. And nothing against Pujols because he's fantastic. But him and Hornsby are probably at the same level, just based off of career accomplishments. And he's just one of those players that just people forgot over time for some reason.
Right. I don't understand what the thing about Rogers Hornsby is. He's, to me, the best offensive second baseman ever to play the sport. best all around might go to Joe Morgan because Rogers Hornsby's defense wasn't as great. But when you're able to put that bat in the lineup, there's no way you're taking him out for defense. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Baseball Reference, a really, really great website, you can see details year after year. And I mean, I can load up right now. What did he have, like a 350 lifetime average? Load it up
Something like that. I'm not sure about his lifetime average, but he's had 2 Triple Crown years. So it's not like he was a fly-by-night one-hit wonder. Like 2 Triple Crown years, that's not too many Triple Crown winners could say they won 2 years or 3 years worth of Triple Crown awards.
Yeah, so I loaded up real quick. Hornsby has 127 WAR, which if you guys don't know, with WAR, the average Hall of Famer has 65. He has almost double that, just showing you how good he is. He has 2,900 hits, so a little bit short of that elusive 3,000 hit club. Wish he played another season or he got a few more at bats. But his lifetime batting average was 358.
That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And throughout his peak years, he averaged 400 throughout his peak years. Not one season, not 2. His peak years were like 5 or 6 seasons. He averaged over 400. That's nuts.
Check this out. From 1920 to 1925, he batted 370, 397, 401, 384, 424, 403. And then again in 28, he batted 387. With 29, he batted 380.
That is, he's done stuff that you can't fathom nowadays because you just don't see people hitting for high averages consistently. Like someone nowadays, Tim Anderson or DJ LeMahieu, who hasn't done it this year, but people like that, they're rare that you could point the finger to and say, yeah, he keeps up a high average, or Jose Altuve in previous years, but they can't back it up with power. And to keep it up at that level at a 400 clip, that's nuts to me.
Well, I think the only player right now that has a potential to becoming like a Hornsby type player is Juan Soto. His second half this year, he's batting 355 and he's hitting a lot of home runs as well. And I know through the past, I mean, one thing that I look at least with players, like whether if I'm investing in them or purchasing their cards, is how well they see the ball. And he's really, really great getting on base because of walks. But again, with how the Triple Crown is calculated, he kind of gets punished for walks because if you get a hit instead, it goes towards your average, whereas walks don't. And I know right now, because the analytics era we're in, we love seeing walks. I mean, especially with Moneyball, right? A walk is just as good as a hit because you get the player on first base. Actually, walk might be a little bit better because it ruins the pitch count of a pitcher. Think about it, you have to throw at least 4 pitches to walk versus you can get a hit on 1 or 2 pitches. And if you're trying to get a great pitcher out of a ball game faster, walk's the better approach to use. But a lot of that's kind of affected the batting average side of things. But I think Juan Soto is one of those type of players that long-term could eventually get a Triple Crown.
Yeah, I agree. I love Juan Soto, by the way. I'm very bullish with him and his trajectory, his career, especially at his age right now. He has yet to put up a bad offensive season. And you could only think once he hits his peak years, what his ceiling could be like. So I'm very interested in seeing how his career shapes up, much like I did with Albert Pujols and Miguel Cabrera. So he reminds me of that type of echelon of offensive hitters.
Yeah, and speaking of Triple Crowns and young guys too, Vladimir Guro Jr. Honestly, if you told me at the beginning of the season if Vlad was going to win a Triple Crown, I would have said no. And then if you said also he really win the Triple Crown and there's a chance he might not win the MVP award, I'd have been in shock. But man, between him and Ohtani, that MVP race is going to be really interesting. But at the same time, I would have never thought Vlad would be going after a Triple Crown at, was he 22 or 23 this season?
I think he's more like 23, but it's amazing because he's going to keep it up. He's got the natural gifted ability, the lineage with his dad. And to think he's going to do something his dad couldn't even do throughout his whole career. That at such a young age. Exactly. And I hope he gets in because there's 44 Triple Crown winners in all. I would love to see number 45 this year.
So one last thing before we talk about your collection, you recently reached out the PSA about getting your Triple Crown collection on the set registry. You want to dive in a little bit more details about that?
Okay, so About I would say 2 months ago, I got on a live stream with Ray from Philly, and he started asking me about my collection. He found it intriguing. I think he was fairly new to my channel, so he was still getting to know me and my collecting ways. And on the live stream, I had told him that I'm knee deep into my Triple Crown collection. He asked me to elaborate on it, and I explained to him that it's not just rookies. I like to try to collect their Triple Crown year, or in some cases, like the dead ball era, it's just whoever you could find, whichever set you could find of the player. You just consider yourself fortunate. Like, I guess to show you one here, Tip O'Neill. This is an old Judge card, right? I consider myself fortunate. I'm able to find any one of his cards because they just didn't put them on many cards, and then they don't come up regularly. So when I found this card at the price that I found it, I just jumped all over it. I'm talking about, you would have had to pry me away from that dealer without this card.
That was the one that you grabbed at Dallas too, wasn't it?
Yeah, I got it, I think, in the January show.
Yep, I remember, because you're showing it off. You're like, you'll never believe the OJ I found.
I couldn't believe it. And then recently I picked up another one, which, if I could find it right now, I have a whole bunch of these laying around.
I'm
I
excited
just
to see
did a
it.
video on the Fan Craze card. This from 1906, which is only a few years later from the old Judge. But this set, you just don't see too
They're
many.
beautiful cards too.
Yeah, they're very beautiful. They're not common. They're very rare, scarce. And then to find one of a Hall of Famer like Rube Waddell is another one that this type of collection allows me to keep my focus on these type of players who are not just anybody. They're some of the best names in all-time football greats. And then there's others that I got familiar with that otherwise I would have never had known existed, like Jaime Zimmerman. Jaime Zimmerman is someone that I didn't even know anything about him until he was on my list. And when I got the card and I researched him, he had the most craziest career from beginning to end, where he was implicated in the Black Sox scandal. So
Really?
things like that. Yeah, he was implicated with throwing games and putting out bribes for players. And he was exonerated because they couldn't prove it. It was really Hal Chase that was the ringleader. And because he was friends with him, but no proof, he got kind of like forgiven, but they blackballed him after that, to the point where they took away 5 RBIs so that he wouldn't be the Triple Crown winner. And in 2015, they reinstated him as the RBI winner because they went through all the box scores of that Triple Crown year. And they were like, no, he did win the Triple Crown. And they took it away from Honus Wagner and they gave it to him once again. And in 2015, he was once again recognized as a Triple Crown winner. I would have not known. I would have been oblivious to a player like Jaime Zimmerman if it's not for this collection.
I had no idea about that story. That's pretty cool. So did his career pretty much end in 1919, or did they continue to play a little bit, or what's the story on that side of things?
No, in 1920 was the hearings. And that was when they just wanted to sweep him under the rug. They couldn't prove that he was guilty of such wrongdoings, but they never offered him a career again. Like, a contract again, pretty much like Barry Bonds a little bit.
Yep, and I remember Barry Bonds because as a Rays fan, we should have signed him on that year. If we had him,
right.
He did really well his last year.
He did well.
We didn't have a DH.
There was no reason why he couldn't play another year or two, and no one offered him a contract. They just wanted to do away with Barry Bonds at the end of his career. And they were like, well, we know he could keep going to like 45 or 50, whatever, until he, like Tom Brady, chooses to hang it up. But they were like, no, you put a stain on baseball, when everyone decided not to give him another contract.
No, that's really interesting. So let's dive deep into your PC a little bit. So obviously you showed the OJ. Do you have any others from the old Judge set, or any Allen and Ginters? And maybe we can work our way towards some modern cards.
Yeah, I haven't showcased this card yet. It's a Mecha double folder of a Nap Lajoie. So I'm looking forward to showing this one. And to me, he goes hand in hand with Ty Cobb, which I just picked this one up at the National. It's an American Caramel. So
I remember
this is
you
the
talking
same.
about that. That was so cool.
Yeah, so I have this one from that set, and I also have the Rogers Hornsby, and I picked up another one, which was a big pickup for me. And here it goes. It's Grover Cleveland Alexander. So this was a huge pickup for me because in the 20s, they just didn't make a lot of sets at that time. So for me to find one of Grover Cleveland Alexander was getting very challenging. And to be able to find this one in a good shape that it's in, I was all over this one also. So Grover Cleveland Alexander, I have a list here actually. He won 3 Triple Crown awards. 3. That's how good he was.
Maybe he was the leader with pitcher wise. Because I don't think, I mean, how many does Walter Johnson have?
Walter Johnson has 3 also.
He has 3. So I wasn't sure.
And Sandy Koufax has 3 also. So those 3 dominated in Triple Crowns with 3 each.
There you go.
So I don't have a Sandy Koufax. I want to pick up a rookie card of his for this one. And Cy Young, Chrissy Mathewson, those are 2 that are thorns in my side with the pitchers.
We got them both right here. Well, Walter
Go
Johnson's
ahead.
Locked away, but
those could come my way. I could borrow those whenever you want to let me borrow those. And Ted Williams is a thorn on my side. So I can't pick up any of his really early ones all the way up to the 48 leaf. Those are becoming
they're
almost
so expensive.
They are. They've gone up through the roof over the last 6 months. And I've accepted the fact that I have to go after 51 Bowman just because fiscally it's just too much. This whole collection is like a $20,000 collection if you want to do the math with the players and the names. Let me run off a few names here. I haven't showcased Lou Gehrig. This card alone is like a $4,000 card, somewhere around there. I haven't priced it or looked up the comps, but it's a very, and this is his Triple Crown year. So I'm very happy with this. That's cool. One.
I know about the 34 Gowdy. Gehrig was the face of it, him. And then it was also Chuck Klein. Chuck Klein. Like the last 12 cards or something like that in this set. But what was interesting enough in that set, they didn't have any Babe Ruths. Like Ruth was the face of 33 and they cut him out.
There's Chuck Klein.
Yep.
So they both happen to have won the Triple Crown, and that's why they were commemorated with the banner underneath for that year.
Oh, okay.
Right. And then for the 34 Gowdy, I also have Lefty Grove. So these are some of the older cards, and I know you're a fan of Lefty Grove. Lefty Grove,
yep.
He's one of the best pitchers of that era. And
absolutely. His 33 Gowdy is one of my favorites.
Yeah, I put him up there with like Sandy Koufax and some of the other greatest lefties that ever pitched. Rube Waddell was a great lefty, but let me see. I have a few others here. I have Dazy Vance. This one took me a little while to locate it. It's not considered a very expensive card, but they just don't exist too often. And their shape is really rough sometimes when you do find them. So I was pretty happy when I found this one. This is another Triple Crown year. So just to elaborate, if I could find the rookie card, I'm happy. Or I try to go for the Triple Crown year if I can. Or there's some cases where I just thought outside the box and I did something else, but I'll get into that in a sec. But here's a Triple Crown year of Mickey Mantle. I just recently picked that one up last month at the Dallas Card Show. And I'm really happy. Yeah, I'm really happy with this one because it has really nice centering and it's clean. And it checks off my Mickey Mantle collection. And also I'm doing an MVP run collection. So that one checks off 3 boxes. I was real happy with that one. So let's see. Other big names, notable names is Jimmy Fox, big time Triple Crown winner, one of the best sluggers of the era. This is probably my favorite Jimmy Fox card that exists just because I love the detail, the picture, the colors in this card. There you go. You got the rookie.
33.
Yeah, so Jimmy Fox, for me, is one of the more underappreciated sluggers of that era. He almost tied or surpassed Babe Ruth's record with 58 home runs. So he's big time to me.
100%. Him and Mela, I feel I have no appreciation for some reason.
Mela is one of my cards on my radar I'm trying to get for the fact that I know how big he was as a slugger. So I know you picked up a Mela recently, right?
Yep. I was gonna hold on. It's over here. There it is. So he has 2 in the 33 Gaudi set.
Oh, you have the
this
red
right
one.
here. Yeah, I like this design better. I'd have it
I would
locked away.
be fine with both. I would take either his profile pic or that one. I would be fine with both.
I just love the design. Just choking up on a bat, the striking background, and it says Melvin Ott right there. So I have this one, and then I have a Diamond Stars one, which I need to get graded. I have it in my grading box. It has
I like
a little
that one
pencil marking
too.
back, but
it looks similar to that pose where he has the bat choked up also.
yeah, I believe so. I'd have to look it up. I haven't seen it in a while.
Speaking of Diamond Stars, I have this Joe Ducky Medwick Diamond Stars card, and he was also a St. Louis great. And let's see, I have a few. The thing about this collection is you have so many immortals in this collection that it's just a fun collection to put together, because every time you add someone, it's someone with substance. It's a name. It's not just a good play. Like some of them are good players, and then others are like, whoa, they're immortals. Like you're checking off a big name when you add that name. So that's why I love this collection. Like here's a Frank Robinson.
I miss my Frank Robinson, man. I really want to get one back.
So I'm really happy with additions like that for the collection. And one of the ones that I was telling you that I went for their Triple Crown year is someone like Roger Clements. This is his Triple Crown year, but I thought this was a really cool card with the holographics design. And I don't know, I just wanted to have one of him in his Toronto Blue Jays uni. And I wanted the card to pop because they're relatively inexpensive in this year to own one of his cards. So why not go after a nice insert card with the graphic designs? Here's another one where it was their Triple Crown year. It's Randy Johnson. And this is a short print night parallel of his Triple Crown year with the Arizona Diamondbacks. So these are just examples of where I try to have a little bit fun with it, because owning a Randy Johnson rookie card, it's no real pizzazz to that. It's like sometimes you can find them in the dollar box. Roger Clemens, same
Tiffany
thing. Right, but I'm not a big fan of his to actually go after such a pricey card, although there's nothing wrong with it, but that's a very expensive card. Any Tiffany card is expensive.
They're fun though.
So here's one card which I went totally outside the box. I didn't do his rookie card. I didn't do his Triple Crown year, because for me, I could find them in a dollar box and they didn't have any pizzazz. But Pedro Martinez, I went after his autograph.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's Transcendent.
Yes.
I
So
love those cards, man.
It's numbered out of 25. And to have an autograph of one of the best pitchers that I witnessed dominate, I was all over this one. This type of card is juicy. It's able to hold weight with some of the others I already showcased. And for someone that to me was one of the best pitchers of that era, I figured, let me go after a nice juicy autograph. So not with everyone I'm willing to do that, but for Pedro Martinez's caliber, I decided why not. Here's another one which I found. It's Hippo Vaughn. And this is another one where I couldn't find too many of his cards. He has a T205 card and he has this Chocolate Recruits card. But this is another card. This is the first time I own one of these from this set. And to have this card, I was all over it. I love it. I love the way he looks in it. When you look up the Wikipedia, I think this is the picture it shows of him in this card. So to have that card, I was really happy that I found this one. But those are the type of players like Hippo Vaughn that I just didn't know anything about him until I looked him up. Here's a case where I was able to find a rookie card of Bucky Walters. So this card's not that expensive, but the fact that it's his rookie card and it's something from the 39 play ball set.
It's in good shape too.
It is, but you could be surprised that I think I paid like $10 for it. It's just not an expensive card at all. Bucky Walters, he's one of those players that had like that one special year and that was it. They didn't have much of a career after that. But there's certain players like that had like one great year and then flamed out afterwards. And then there's others that just had a great career. So here's
Definitely
one
happens
like
to a lot of pitchers.
Right. And then Lefty Gomez, he had one of the better careers as a Yankee, but no one really, there you go, nice one.
Yep.
Lefty Gomez isn't like a prolific name. He's not a household name, but he did have a great Triple Crown year. And I was happy to own this one, which is his 41 play ball. So it just really helps me get to know some of the players that did something really nice and special, not just like an MVP year or career year, like a Triple Crown year. You basically dominated baseball in a way that others haven't seen for a while. And I just find that to be so interesting.
Now, is there any players that had Triple Crowns and don't have any cards? So like probably 19th century players?
There's a few that I'm having a hard time with finding, like old Haas Radbourn. I think he pitched for the Red Sox. I haven't seen anything of his come up. So in a case like his, I might not be able to pick up a playing day card or anything of his. I might have to just settle for like a picture. If I could find a print picture, even if it's like a type 3, and then get it slabbed, that could be part of the collection. But in cases like that, there's nothing I could do about it. Like, I mean, I could hope, and if I dig deep enough, maybe I could find a set that he belonged to and put it in my watch list. But whether it comes up or not, I just don't know. But there's Tommy Bond is another name. He won the Triple Crown in 1877. Guy Hecker. I mean, these are names that I don't know if I'll be able to find them. The ones that I do know of is Paul Hines, Tim Keefe, John Clarkson. I know they have an old Judge card, and in some cases, Allen and Ginter card. It's just a matter of when they come up, if I could even afford them, because usually they go for like $2,000 for like a one or a two.
Yeah, luckily I was able to pick a John Clarkson a while ago, but I think he does have an old Judge and he has a Allen and Ginter.
Right. And in some cases they have like 3 poses and like an old Judge or something like that.
Oh man, I love that set because especially like there's a lot of one-of-a-kind cards in it that people don't realize are one-of-ones. And I feel like new stuff still gets discovered even today. I mean, there's like what 4,000 or 5,000 different variations of old Judge cards. It's crazy.
Right. And in those cases, like it doesn't matter if you find one in an authentic grade, you're just fortunate to find one, basically. So even if someone trimmed it to like put it in their scrapbook or something, so what? Like it lasted this long, almost 150 years, I'll take it. Yeah, so finding one is where it's like you just consider yourself fortunate, especially if you could afford to buy one.
Absolutely. So James, you want to talk about a little bit real quick about your YouTube channel so people can go check that out?
So with my YouTube channel, this is like what I like to do. I like to showcase and appreciate certain players in the sport that I love, baseball. I also touch on football and basketball every once in a while. But for the most part, 80 to 90% of the content on my YouTube channel is baseball. But I like to have fun with it. I sometimes do video responses or mail day videos, so on and so forth, but that's just to break up the routine. Maybe I haven't found anything, but when I do, it's usually for a collection that speaks to me, something a little out the box. Like with this one, where with PSA, they were all over the fact that I requested this Triple Crown collection to them. They were shocked nobody else requested this collection to them.
Awesome. Well, guys, make sure to give James a follow at the Elite Hunters on YouTube. You're going to learn a lot from his channel. He also goes to a lot of card shows as well. He just went to Collectors Con in Tampa, and he goes to Dallas every time it's over there. So make sure to drop him a subscribe because he's great content. Now, guys, I'm going to catch you next week's episode.